My name is Lena, I'm 29, and for the past 6 months, I've been waking up every morning with this tightness in my chest that no deep breath can undo. If I'm being honest, this isn't really about love. Not entirely. It's about something quieter than heartbreak, something smaller and meaner that you can't name until it's already gnawed a hole through your sense of self. And it started at work, of all places. He used to call me his work wife. That dumb, harmless title we joke about by the coffee machine, smiling over lukewarm mugs and the latest client disaster. I used to like how it sounded. Playful. Close. It meant I mattered. That in a sea of desks and dry deadlines, I was his person. His favorite. Aaron was 8 years older than me, funny in that dry, razor-witted way that made boring meetings almost enjoyable. Our desks faced each other. Our eyes met 100 times a day. He always knew when I needed a break before I did. I used to think that we had a rhythm other people noticed. It wasn't official, of course. Nothing in writing. But there were late nights spent wrapping up projects we could have finished hours earlier. Knees touching under conference room tables. A brush of his hand against mine when no one was looking. The quiet sound of his breath when I leaned in too close. It felt like the beginning of something. Of us. And then came Rachel. She's 42. Been with the company longer than me. Wears expensive perfume and leather heels that click with confidence. At first, I didn't mind her. She kept to herself. But then Aaron started gravitating. He started sharing jokes with her. Lingering by her desk. Going to lunch without telling me. One Friday, I brought him his favorite smoothie, peanut butter and banana with almond milk. I set it on his desk like always. He smiled at me, but it wasn't the same kind. It was tight. Mechanical. His hand brushed mine, but didn't stay there like it used to. That night, we stayed late again. I thought maybe we were getting back to normal. He was leaning over my chair, pointing at a spreadsheet, and I could feel the warmth of his body behind me. I turned slightly, hoping he'd say something, anything about missing me. But all he said was, "You should really learn how Rachel does this formatting. She's got a good system." I nodded. Swallowed. Said nothing. He reached out and gave my shoulder a quick squeeze, the kind you give a coworker. Not a lover. Not a favorite. Even the way he touched me had changed. I tried to brush it off that weekend. Told myself I was overthinking. Monday would be better. But Monday came, and it wasn't. What finally did it? It wasn't a dramatic moment. No big reveal. No yelling in the hallway or some tragic, caught-in-the-act scene. It was the email. An internal thread congratulating Rachel for taking the lead on the project that I had initiated. Aaron had written the message. "Thanks to Rachel for stepping in. Her leadership is appreciated." No mention of me. Not even a CC. I stared at that email longer than I should have, letting the words blur into a smear of gray. And in that moment, that stupid, corporate moment, I knew. Something had changed. And not just at work. Inside me. Something had started to unravel. And I wasn't sure I could stitch it back together. Aaron is a corporate strategist, the kind of man who lives in bullet points and PowerPoint decks. He's brilliant at building narratives that make clients feel seen. But lately, I've realized he has no idea how to do that with me. Not where it counts. I wish I could say I confronted him right away, told him how Rachel's sudden spotlight felt like a betrayal. But I didn't. I kept smiling. Kept working late. Kept hoping I was wrong. Until the Tuesday meeting. We were reviewing performance assessments. Rachel was seated at the head of the table, next to Aaron, my spot. He barely looked at me as he pulled up the new organizational chart. I wasn't demoted. Not technically. But they'd shifted project responsibilities, handed mine to her. Aaron said it was about streamlining, reducing overlap. I felt like I was being rewritten right in front of my coworkers, like my value had been rebranded under someone else's name. After the meeting, I stayed behind to collect my notes. Aaron lingered, watching me from the doorway. "You okay?" I shrugged. "Sure. Streamlining. Makes perfect sense." He stepped closer, touching the small of my back, familiar territory, but it felt off. His hand didn't warm me like it used to. It pressed. Come over tonight, he said, low voice, that half smile that used to make my stomach flip. I'll cook. I wanted to scream. Cook? We hadn't talked about us in weeks. About what we were. About what he was doing with Rachel, or not doing. I needed honesty. Not grilled salmon. But I went. His apartment still smelled like cedar and old books. He played that soft jazz he knows I like. Made an effort. I give him that. But I felt like a guest in a place where I used to feel like a partner. At dinner, he touched my thigh under the table. I froze. He didn't notice. He just kept talking about a new account they'd landed. Rachel really delivered on that pitch, he said, pouring more wine. I swallowed the bitterness in my mouth. She seems comfortable around you. He laughed, short, dismissive. What's that supposed to mean? I don't know. Maybe she's your new work wife. He looked at me sharply. Lena, don't start this. You're overthinking everything lately. Overthinking. God, I hate that word. I pushed my plate away. I just feel like I don't matter here anymore. At work. With you. It's like I'm just extra. He stood and started clearing dishes, his way of ending conversations. I show you I care. I invite you over. I cook for you. I touch you. What more do you want? I looked at him, blinking back something tight in my throat. I want you to see me. Not just reach for me when you want to feel better about your own guilt. That shut him up. For a moment. Then, quietly, I didn't realize you felt that way. I nodded, slow. I know. That's the part that hurts. We didn't kiss that night. Not really. He pulled me in as I left, his lips brushed mine, but it felt practiced. Obligatory. Like he was checking off a box. I walked home feeling lonelier than I had when I arrived. And the next morning, Rachel brought in muffins for the team, gluten-free, Aaron's favorite. He took one, smiled at her the way he used to smile at me. I stood by the copier, watching. And for the first time, I realized I might not just be losing him, I might be losing myself in trying to keep him. There's a particular kind of silence that happens when two people are pretending everything's fine. Lately, that silence has been louder than anything between me and Aaron. We still have our routines, he still texts me, good morning, still invites me over on weekends like nothing's changed. And I still go, even though being in his space feels like stepping into a memory I'm slowly falling out of. That Saturday night, he was unusually affectionate. He poured wine, turned on old R&B, wrapped his arms around me from behind while I was rinsing strawberries at his sink. His chin rested lightly on my shoulder. You smell good, he murmured, voice low and warm. I gave a small smile. Thanks. He kissed my neck slowly, like he was trying to rewind us back to something that used to work. His hands slid around my waist, familiar, practiced, confident. But all I felt was cold. Not on my skin, on the inside. I kept slicing strawberries, my knife tapping awkwardly against the board. He turned me toward him. You okay? I nodded too fast. Yeah. Just tired. He tilted his head, searching my face like he wanted to find something there, but I didn't know what to give him anymore. I leaned in, kissed him, just to stop the questions, but even as our lips met, I felt flat. Like I was playing myself in a scene I didn't audition for. He deepened the kiss. I let him. His hand moved to the small of my back, then slid lower. Gave me that playful little slap he used to do, the one that used to make me laugh. This time, I flinched. He noticed. Stepped back slightly. What was that? Nothing, I said too quickly, brushing past him. Just startled me. Startled, he asked, following me into the living room. Lena, I've done that 100 times. Yeah, I said, sitting on the edge of the couch. And maybe that's the problem. He stood there, blinking. What is going on with you lately? You're hot and cold. One minute you're into me, the next you act like I'm invading your space. I didn't have the words. Not yet. He sat next to me, reached for my hand. Talk to me. I don't know what to say, I said, staring at our entwined fingers. I feel disconnected. His voice softened. Is this about Rachel again? No, I said, too sharply. Then quieter, not entirely. I looked at him, at the man I used to feel safe with, wanted by. Now every kiss felt like a test I was failing. Every touch reminded me that he could still want me without really seeing me. You keep trying to fix things with physical stuff, I said. And I get it, that used to work. But right now, I don't want your hands if I don't have your heart. He leaned back, rubbing his jaw. I'm here, aren't I? I laughed bitterly. Being here physically isn't the same as being present emotionally. He sighed, like I was exhausting. So what? You want me to stop touching you altogether? No, I whispered. I want it. But lately, I trailed off. He leaned in again, slower this time, and kissed me softly, gentle, searching. I let him. I even closed my eyes. But I felt nothing. Not butterflies. Not warmth. Just the weight of a memory I couldn't reach. When he pulled away, he looked at me for a long time. You're not really here, are you? I swallowed, blinking hard. We went out to dinner like we used to, like it meant something. Aaron had made reservations at the little rooftop place downtown where we first celebrated landing our big pitch together. That night was all warm lights, slow dancing, and stolen glances over dessert. I'd worn red lipstick. He'd said I looked like I owned the whole skyline. This time, I wore mascara that I hoped wouldn't run. He was trying in his way. He reached for my hand across the table, complimented my earrings, ordered my favorite pasta without asking. We made it through the appetizers, just fine laughter, polite conversation, a flicker of ease. Then Rachel's name came up. Again. She's just sharp, you know, he said, swirling his wine. Knows how to navigate people. Reminds me of you, actually. The words landed with a slap I wasn't expecting. Reminds you of me, I repeated slowly, setting down my fork. He looked up, caught the edge in my voice. I meant it as a compliment. Right, I said, nodding stiffly. Because what woman wouldn't want to be compared to the one who replaced her? Lena, he sighed. Not this again. No, let's. I pushed my plate away. Let's actually talk about it. About how you used to light up when I walked into a room, how we used to have something, and now all I see is you leaning into her desk, laughing like I never existed. He looked around nervously, like I was causing a scene. Can we not do this here? I leaned in. My voice dropped. When exactly did I stop being enough for you? Was it when she started taking over my projects? Or when she started bringing you muffins? He flinched. Jesus, Lena. I didn't replace you. You're making this bigger than it is. No, I snapped, tears suddenly blurring my vision. You made it bigger by pretending like I didn't matter the moment she walked in with more experience and less emotional needs. He sat back, stunned into silence. And then, quietly, so this is about her age now? I laughed sharp, bitter. No. It's about how I became disposable. At work. In your life. I was the fun one, the work wife, the late-night project partner until someone more polished showed up. He opened his mouth, then shut it. I saw it, the shift. The tightening of his jaw, the subtle withdrawal. Like I was becoming exactly what people had started to whisper at the office. Difficult. Emotional. A problem. I stood up, tears falling now. Forget it. I shouldn't have come. He didn't stop me. Didn't reach out. Just sat there, staring at his half-finished drink while I walked away, heels clicking on the rooftop tile, breath shallow and uneven. By the time I made it to the street, guilt had started to claw its way in. I shouldn't have lost it like that. I shouldn't have made a scene. I shouldn't have cried in public like some unstable cliché. But beneath the shame, something else whispered. You weren't crazy. You were hurting. Still, I couldn't help the ache in my chest, that low throb of confusion and humiliation. I didn't know if I was mourning a relationship, a job, or just the version of myself that used to feel chosen. All I knew was that somewhere along the way, I stopped being the woman he wanted and started being the one who wanted too much. Aaron and I haven't spoken since the rooftop meltdown. He didn't call. I didn't text. We've passed each other in the office twice, and both times, we pretended to be busy, eyes on screens, fake smiles for coworkers, that awful tension vibrating between us like an invisible wire pulled too tight. I miss him in the most annoying ways. I still open my phone expecting his morning messages. I still reach for inside jokes mid-meeting, only to catch myself mid-sentence. I still think of him when I hear certain songs or smell cinnamon, his favorite candle scent that he kept in the office drawer like a secret. But I don't know how to fix it. Every attempt I rehearse in my head sounds pathetic or too late. And if I'm honest, I'm not sure if I want to fix us or just erase the loneliness that's taken root since we broke apart. He's not untouched by it, I can tell. He's quieter at work now, less animated in meetings. He skips the kitchen where we used to loiter between tasks. The other day, I watched him laugh at something Rachel said, that short, polite laugh he uses when he's being watched. Not the real one. Not the one I used to get. And then yesterday, I caught him looking at me. Just a glance over the top of his laptop. His eyes lingered for a moment too long, like he was remembering or maybe regretting or maybe both. When our eyes met, he looked away. It hurt more than it should have. And yet, I get it. He tried. In his own way. He cooked. He touched. He kept showing up while I kept backing away, building a wall brick by brick from every unmet need I never found the words for. Now we're both just standing on either side of it, exhausted, staring at the mess. I think about the night we stayed late after a client presentation and ate takeout on the floor of his apartment, laughing so hard I cried. I think about the morning I caught him watching me in a meeting, like I was the only person in the room. I think about how, for a while, I felt chosen. Not special, chosen. And now I feel replaced. Not by Rachel, not really. But by something safer. More manageable. Less complicated. Maybe that's who I became, complicated. Needy. Unrecognizable to the man who once used to notice when I needed a break just by the way I held my pen. I sit on my bed that night with my laptop open, a blank message to Aaron glowing on the screen. I type, "Can we talk?" Then I erase it. Then I type it again. Erase. Type. Erase. Stare. Do I want to try again? To sit across from him and risk hearing that I was never really what he wanted, just a phase, a convenience? Or worse, do I want to hear that he still cares and realize I've drifted too far to reach back? I close the laptop. Not because I've made a decision, but because for the first time in weeks, I know I have to. And maybe tomorrow, I'll finally decide whether I want to rebuild what we had or finally learn to let it go. It took me a week to send the message. I kept it simple. Can we talk? No pressure. Just clarity. He replied an hour later. Yeah, come by tonight? His apartment looked exactly the same. Neat, warm, familiar. The jazz station was playing low, like always. There was a candle burning on the side table, cinnamon. I sat on the edge of the couch, hugging my knees, feeling like a stranger in the space where I once felt at home. Aaron handed me a mug of tea without asking how I liked it because he already knew. That small act undid something in me. He sat across from me, elbows on his knees, quiet. I thought about calling you, he said first. But I didn't want to push. I nodded. I wasn't sure what I'd say. He exhaled, slow. You were right, you know. About me not really seeing you. I got so focused on keeping things light between us that I didn't notice we weren't okay anymore. My throat tightened. I felt like I was falling off the map, like I kept reaching for something that used to be there, and it just wasn't. I know. He looked down at his hands. And Rachel, that whole situation, I never meant for it to feel like a betrayal. She's not. It's not that. She's just good at her job. And maybe I leaned on her more when you started pulling away. I didn't know what else to do. That's just it, I said, voice shaking. You didn't ask. Silence sat between us for a moment. Not heavy. Just real. Then I added, softer, and I didn't say much either. I kept expecting you to guess. He smiled, faintly. We really messed this up, huh? I let out a breath. Yeah. He reached out slowly, like asking permission, and touched my hand. His palm was warm, fingers slightly trembling. I miss you, he said. I miss who we were, I whispered. That landed differently. We both felt it. He looked at me, eyes soft but tired. Do you think we could fix this? Or did we stretch it too thin? I didn't answer right away. I just looked at our hands, how they still fit, but didn't feel the same. Like a favorite sweater shrunk in the wash. Maybe it could stretch again. Maybe it couldn't. I don't know, I said honestly. I think I need space, real space, to figure out who I am without needing to be the favorite or the one you choose between meetings. He nodded, swallowing hard. I want you to be happy, even if it's not with me. I stood up to leave. He walked me to the door, like always. And then he pulled me into a hug, the kind that lingers just 1 second longer than it should. His hand pressed between my shoulder blades like he was memorizing the shape of goodbye. When we let go, he kissed my forehead. Not possessive. Not pleading. Just grateful. That broke me a little. I turned to go, heart aching but lighter somehow. I didn't know if this was the end or just the pause before something new. But I knew I wasn't the problem employee. I was a woman who finally asked to be seen. And for once, even just for that moment, I felt like I was. I think what hurt the most wasn't losing him. It was realizing I had slowly disappeared in front of someone who once made me feel unforgettable. It's been a month since we talked. A clean pause, no mess, no drama. Just silence. I still see him at the office. We smile. Sometimes we nod. We're polite now, professional. And that should feel like a win, right? Clean break. No hard feelings. But sometimes I pass his desk and feel this quiet grief for a version of me that used to light up when he said my name. A version I lost somewhere between unspoken expectations and a dozen half-finished conversations. I used to think being chosen meant being safe. That if someone looked at me across a meeting room with soft eyes and inside jokes, it meant I could finally stop proving myself. But now I know being chosen doesn't mean you stop needing to be seen. And being seen doesn't always mean you'll be understood. Here's what I've learned. I crave connection, yes, but not the performative kind. Not the kind that looks good on paper or feels convenient after hours, or lives between shared spreadsheets and casual flirtation. I want intimacy that doesn't depend on performance. Not just touch, tenderness. Not just attraction, attention. Not just laughter, listening. What I had with Aaron, it was real, in its way. And it meant something. But it also taught me how easily desire can hide discomfort. How we sometimes let our bodies speak for us when our hearts are afraid to say what they really need. He touched me like I was his, even after he'd stopped checking if I was okay. And I let him. Because I wanted to keep something that had already let go of me. Looking back now, I can see the signs. The fading warmth. The shift in his eyes. The way our rhythm started to fall out of step, like two dancers clinging to choreography they no longer felt. But I ignored it. Because when you've built your sense of worth around being the favorite, the idea of being replaced feels like erasure. But I wasn't erased. I was revealed. Stripped of the performance, I got to see who I really was without someone's attention propping me up. And I didn't always like what I saw, needy, sharp-tongued, distant. But I also saw strength. Honesty. A woman finally asking for more than breadcrumbs. Aaron's gone and Rachel's still here. She brings muffins. She leads meetings. And you know what? She's damn good at what she does. And me? I stopped trying to compete. I stopped trying to charm my way into worth. I've started rewriting the story, not the romance, not the drama. Just me. And the next time someone chooses me, whether in work, in love, or in a moment of silence across a crowded room, I hope it's not because I'm convenient, or clever, or fun after 6 p.m. I hope it's because they saw all of me, and still wanted to stay. Until then, I'm staying with me. Thank you for listening. Whoever you are. I hope you remember this. You're not hard to love. You're just done pretending you don't need more. Let me know if you'd like this turned into a voiceover script, visual storyboard, or a new episode with a different title and emotional arc. Ask ChatGPT when.